So I'm just about all set to buy that 2600 Plus, and then my arcade comes along with the Game Station Pro. And now I gotta rethink all my life's choices. Alright, so it's not all that serious, but it is worth considering. So this is Coach Troy here, and I'm gonna just think about it for a second. So I'm sure, as many of you are aware, this new Atari is making some big moves. They bought Atari Age, very big stuff, and they're coming out with that new system, the 2600 Plus, a physical console that plays 2600 and 7800 games. Right? Something like that hasn't been done in quite some time, not since the Retron 77, right? So I'm all set to go in on this purchase. You know, I'm kind of excited for this. New way to play games. I mean, it's still just playing the same games, but I like the idea of having that new system, that newer hardware, that just as I'm about to hit that buy button, I hear that my arcade is coming out with the Game System Pro. Now this is going to be its own little plug-and-play system here that's going to play 2600, 5200, and 7800 games. And it comes with a new slick joystick. So now I got to stop. I actually got to think about, what do I want? I can't, still making that public school money, not exactly breaking the bank. So I got to pick one. As much as I'd like to just buy every cool thing that comes out, I got to have some kind of self-control, right? So now there's decisions, and I gotta think, where am I gonna go with this? Am I going with that hardware, or am I going with that plug and play? So let's just do a little bit of comparison and see where we end up. So on one hand, we're gonna have the physical console, all right, looking pretty similar to a 2600, but smaller in size, and having very similar capabilities. You're gonna be able to plug in your cartridges if you got them. If you're old like me, you got some. If you've been collecting for a little bit, you probably got them. And they're not too cheap to pick up. You can usually find them between $3 and $5 anywhere you go. And of course, it's going to be able to play those 7800 games, while are more difficult to find, a little more rare, a little more expensive. If you got them, hey, you can play them. On the other side, you've got this plug-and-play system with all the pre-loaded games, over 200 games it looks like, of 2600, 5200, 7800, some arcade games, and some bonus games, alright? If anything, that reminds me a lot of the At Games Flashback series, which I'm a big fan of. I really like these systems, alright? These nice little tiny things that are very convenient to plug in and just play. And you've got that big library right at your disposal. You don't have to worry about collecting. You don't have to worry about finding. And will they actually work or not? They're plugged in, they're loaded, they're ready to go. So just looking at that, for me, I do have a decent library already. So the hardware, still makes sense for me. Whereas if I didn't, maybe I'd be going more towards the Game System Pro. Let's look at that a little deeper, though. There's got to be a little more context into that. The 2600 Plus is going to come with a cartridge of 10 games. So even if you don't have anything, or if you only have a little bit, you're going to have 10 good games too. I really like their selection of games. I liked a lot of the choice that they had. So knowing that those are coming with it, that is solid right there. If that'll easily supplement any library that you have. Even though it's only 10, they're 10 good games. But there's over 200 on the Game Station Pro, right? That 10 and 200, major difference. And it's coming out with not just 2600 games, although if you're an Atari fan, that's what you want. You've also got the 5200 games and the 7800 games. Although, of those 200 games, there's only 7 5200 games and only 10 7800 games, which is a bit disappointing. I was really hoping to get a bigger library of those games in here. And then the arcade games they have are the old school Atari arcade games, and there's some pretty cool gems in there, though. That's something that you're not going to be able to get on the 2600 Plus. And there's also bonus games, which is a little strange. Looking at those, in the bonus games, looks like there's going to be 18-bit, 16-bit, and more arcade games. So pretty much like Nintendo-style games, Genesis-style games that you're going to be able to play on the plug-and-play. And I was looking through that library, nothing really amazing, but, not bad, kind of neat to have, but definitely not sticking with the whole Atari idea there. And then going further, a game is only as good as it controls. And so what are we playing with here, right? Are we just going to have normal joysticks? What do we got? So your 2600 Plus is going to come with a single joystick, and that's it. That's all you got. Though you will be able to use any of your older joysticks. So if you've got an old Atari joystick, it will work with the 2600 Plus system, as well as paddles. And if you don't have paddles, you can buy, yeah, you gotta buy more, but you can buy paddles that is gonna come with another cartridge of games, of paddle games. So that actually makes the sting a little less of having to spend more money, but you're going to get more than just the paddles. You're going to get the games along with it. The Game Station Pro, on the other hand, is going to come with 2 joysticks, and these are all-purpose joysticks. They're going to have 3 buttons, your typical one on the base, on top, and on the stick itself. So you'll be able to play those 7800 games as well as those 8-bit, 16-bit games that are going to require more buttons. They're also, the coolest thing I think on there is it's going to have a built-in paddle on the top here. So you'll be able to play paddle games on the joystick there. You know, I don't know why this hasn't been thought of before. That's actually pretty brilliant. And very nice to go along with that, you're going to be able to adjust the sensitivity of that paddle. So depending on what game you're playing and how, how it's going to react, you can adjust that, and that's, I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. Although I will say for some of the games, I think that's going to be a pretty awkward button setup. I don't know how well that's going to play. And similar to Flashback, you are going to have the buttons on there, the home button. You'll be able to do save states, things like that. So that's pretty cool. A lot of extra neat stuff built into the Game Station Pro that we're actually should come to expect at this point in our plug-and plays. So the 2600 Plus, if you want to play those 7800 games, you're going to need to have a 7800 controller. Right now there's not one for sale, and you say you're going to need 2 buttons for some of these games. Though I did hear that they are coming out with a 7800 controller. I just really hope they come with the PAL region gamepad version and not this super awkward one. This one, yeah, ain't too great to begin with. If I can get a D-pad, that would be so much better. On the other hand, for the Game Station Pro, while it does have that weird awkward button setup that's going to be strange for some games, I was looking at some other people's channels, and it looks like you will actually be able to plug in an Xbox One controller. You can plug in other ones, but they're not going to exactly work the right way, but it seems like the Xbox One controller, if you actually hook it up through the USB-C, it can control and play. So, if you don't like this thing, hey, maybe you can use this thing. I don't know. Even if you can't yet, it won't be long before somebody figures out a way to mod using other controllers into the system. And on that note, looking into what you're going to be able to do with these systems, because as you know, what you get is what you get. It is no longer the case with new hardware. So the 2600 Plus is using firmware that's going to be able to be updated. There's going to be people who are going to figure out ways to do stuff, as well as I'm pretty sure if this goes well, if it sells, Atari is going to figure out some things that they can do with it, things to play around. If they come out with a 5200 adapter, that would be awesome as well. And hopefully they can figure something out, because there is a list of games that are compatible, and there are some that are surprisingly not. A little shocking to think that they're not able to make it where every game is just instantly compatible. I'm not sure on the specifics. I'm no engineer, so I'm not sure how a lot of this stuff works. But I'm thinking that with future updates, they'll probably figure out a way to get every single game, every single cartridge to be compatible with it. So unfortunately right now, homebrews, I know there's a ton of homebrews that have been made for the Atari. Not all of them are probably going to be compatible. There's probably going to need to be adjustments and things like that to make it so you can play. And that, unfortunately, is going to knock this one down a couple of pegs. But I say I'm hoping that in time, we're going to figure out how to make it so you can play whatever you want on this system. And on the Game Station Pro side, you already know it's got that SD card slot that's supposed to be for extra save states, but You plug this sucker in with a bunch of ROMs and you're going to be able to play them. And that's going to change the GameStation Pro from a simple plug-and-play to a system that's going to be able to play games from all over. As well, if you have the ROMs for, any other Atari games, 52, 7800, that you're going to be able to play those, remember, you can also play the 8-bit and the 16-bit and the arcade games on here. So who knows what the limit is for what you're going to be able to play on the GameStation Pro if you've got the ROMs for it. Nintendo, Master System, Genesis, Super Nintendo. I'm not sure what all there is, but it's got to be a pretty high ceiling. That's my guess. So coming down to that final decision, because they both have their pros and their cons, you have to think about, what are you looking for when you're going to buy? Like, what do you really want? Obviously, nothing is needed. The old Atari systems work very well. Still, you can play whatever you want. As well as if you have a computer, you can play whatever ROMs you got, too. I mean, you don't need the GameStation Pro for that. No, you don't. Ugh. So I got to think, why am I doing this? What is my reasoning? So what is it? Is it hardware versus software? Is it, the physical versus the digital? What do you want? For me, I'm just getting into the collecting, into retro gaming. I do have, a good amount of stuff ready, so for playing a lot of the games, I can play them. So that's not exactly the main thing, the ability to play the games. I kind of want, the physical item. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I kind of want to see this new Atari succeed, and I want to kind of back them with my money. That's kind of what I'm doing if I buy it. But the GameStation Pro is still really cool. I like a lot of what they can do. I like the potential of what it could do as well. That is going to be a lot more playing around, and that's not as much of my style as it is of just having the hardware, if that makes sense. And I don't know, these are just my random thoughts and muses and ramblings to kind of justify why I would even buy either of the systems when, I really don't need to, but, I want to. So that is where I'm leaning right now. If you guys got anything else that you might help sway me, please throw it in the comments. Let me know. I am leaning towards that 2600 plus. But the GameStation Pro, again, is really cool, and it's only $100, where I'm going to end up spending more money on that 2600 plus. I know it. It's just going to kind of maybe, hopefully not become a complete money pit, but I am going to throw some money into it. So this is Coach Troy. Thanks for listening to my random ramblings. I'll catch y'all next time.
Thanks y'all for watching as I travel into the world of retro gaming. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. Or if you're interested in my other hobbies of board gaming or fitness, check out my other channel. This is Coach Troy, and I'll see y'all next time.